Alrighty, I have been prolonging this video for quite some time now. This is actually going to be uploaded on the detailing channel. If you guys saw the Milwaukee review of this vacuum, it was on my first channel, which is just AutoVisions. This one is AutoVisions Detailing. But yes, this is going to be just over 2-year review of the Milwaukee M18 vacuum. Some of you might want to know, does this thing actually last? Is it worth the money? Or should you just go and buy a cheaper one? Like, we got a rigid vacuum back there. Or should you invest the money in this one? Let's break it down. So let's talk about this. Some of you know that I do mobile detailing, and my go-to vacuum, my #1 vacuum that I use every single day pretty much, is this. Maybe I'm not detailing or using the vacuum 7 days a week, but in general, I probably use this vacuum about 20 times a month, and I use it for hours on end. I run it with a 8 amp hour Milwaukee battery. I do have a 9 amp hour over there and a couple other ones, and I can usually get an entire car done with basically 2 of these. So like the 8 amp hour and the 9 amp hour battery, and that'll basically get the whole car done. Unless it's a really dirty car, then I'm spending like 4 hours vacuuming or something. But in general, this covers pretty much everything I needed to do. I run it on setting 1, still works. And other thing is, I got a second filter over there. I've used in 2 years, I've had 3 filters. So the first one the vacuum comes with, I bought a second one, and then I have the third one. And the first one that this one came with, I threw it out because it got so bad. But I rotate between that one and this one, and I wash them out. I just use water. I rinse out the filter, and then it's good to go. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons of this vacuum. Milwaukee states do not stand on this vacuum, and I will let you know that every single day, not every single day, but lots of details, I tend to be standing on this. I weigh about 195, and I stand on this when I'm on the roof washing cars or something. I use it when I'm polishing sometimes to sit on. But other than that, things work pretty good. I have accidentally, well, not accidentally, but kind of on purpose, but not really, but I've power washed the vacuum one time to clean it. Not the smartest idea because it didn't turn on after that. I had to let it dry. It took like 2 hours for it to dry out, and it turned back on, so it was good to go. The other thing that I sometimes have happen, I don't know if it's the connection here or what it is, but sometimes the vacuum with a real Milwaukee battery, I can put a clip in it, fully charged, it won't turn on. So I don't know if it's a heat thing, if it's a heat thing with the battery, but I've had that happen a few times, and I thought the vacuum was dead because I tried for an hour or so and it just wouldn't turn on, and then next thing you know, it turns on and works again. So sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not, but in general, most of the times it turns on for me. Keep in mind that's over like a 2-year time span, and this thing probably has hundreds of hours of use on it. Now you'll see right now I do not have the little stand that goes underneath this thing with the wheels. Unfortunately, it did break. The little clip-in part that's supposed to clip in the front broke, and then basically it was useless because you couldn't clip it in and wheel it around. Doesn't really matter, I don't really need it. I kind of just pick it up, and the hose is long enough that it pretty much reaches wherever you need to go, so it doesn't bother me too much. Back to the battery subject, I believe that it wouldn't turn on sometimes because either the battery or the machine got too hot, because I would notice sometimes if I would just unplug it, plug it back in, go like this a few times, it would turn back on. But don't really know what's up with that. Sometimes it would happen with my drills and stuff too, so it might just be a battery issue. Only 2 other flaws I can state with this thing over this 2-year course of owning it is I had one of these split on me. Don't know how it happened, but fortunately, the way it's designed is you can actually just unscrew it from here. So when mine's split, all I had to do, you can see right there where I took a razor blade to it, cut the end of it off, and I just threaded it back inside of there. The last thing I can say about this vacuum is, not sure if all of them are like this, but if you're running these attachments, get out of here. If you're running these attachments with this vacuum, oops, get that off, it splits down the center here. Now when you're using the actual, well, I guess this is the actual Milwaukee vacuum attachment, but these ones, they go on the outside, so it kind of seals this. But I noticed with these attachments and using it, there's so much pressure from going like this with it, it kind of split the vacuum head here, or whatever you want to call it. But that's the only thing I can really say. Kind of unfortunate when this happened, and it tends to just get worse over time. So I'm not sure if they sell this piece, but that's pretty much the only complaint I could say I actually have with this thing, is the Milwaukee attachment actually just split this piece over time from just putting these in all the time and using it. So that's an unfortunate problem. So overall, 2 years of using this vacuum almost every single day, non-stop, and running it for, you gotta imagine, I'm using this thing for probably 5 hours a day when I'm doing details, just switching batteries out and back and forth in this thing. So honestly, it works pretty good. And some people are gonna be like, well, why don't you just plug a vacuum in or something? Well, sometimes when I'm doing details, I have no access to power. So the best thing for me is to have a portable vacuum I can just plug in. I can take this thing wherever I want to go. I can walk into a field and vacuum up something, because inside my truck here I've got chargers set up, and I can just plug stuff into the truck when it's driving, and it'll charge up the batteries for me, and they're good to go when I get to the job site. Small thing, it's not really Milwaukee's fault, but just because I sit on this thing and I stand on it all the time, this has got a little dip in the center from all the weight. It says not to stand on it. I do. Probably just my fault. So, all in all, would I suggest this vacuum to other people? Yes, I would, 100%. I would suggest this vacuum to other people. I definitely got my money's worth out of this thing. The filters, you just got to remember, I change them about once a week. I pull that one out, I'll wash it, put a new one in, because the filters, they work so good, they collect all that dust. If you leave them in too long, it kind of restricts the vacuum, and it's probably not the best for it. So always run it with a filter, change out the filters, clean them. But yeah, I would definitely suggest this vacuum. I guess thanks for watching this video. This is my over 2 year update on if this thing still works. Hopefully this video kind of helps some of you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.